I'm Shannon Doyle, and I am the owner and principal broker here at Eugene Realty Group. And I wanted to create a little video. We get a lot of folks that are thinking about selling their home and perhaps have never sold a home before, or perhaps it's been a while. And the market also constantly shifts and changes. So I just thought I would, talk a little bit about, the process of selling your home and what you can expect as a seller in today's market. Basically, the first step to getting your home sold is to contact a local real estate agent, and that realtor can come over and give you a little market analysis. And basically what we do is we look at all the sales that have happened in your neighborhood in the last few months. Sometimes we go back 3 months and sometimes about 6 months. If you really have a property that there haven't been a lot of sales in that area, maybe it's a little bit more rural or there just haven't been a lot of sales, sometimes we go back a little bit further, and sometimes we even go outside your area just to kind of establish the value of the home. So there's a lot of different things that we do sometimes to have to get a little bit creative to try to give you a good value of what your home is likely to sell for. So the realtor will come over, take a look at your home, let you know if there's anything they see that perhaps you should do to kind of get it ready to market. Maybe sometimes just simple things. You've got to have your water heater strapped and braced, and just a few things like that, smoke detectors. So we can give you some tips like that just to kind of be ready to put it on the market. And so once you sit down with the realtor and kind of come up with a pricing strategy and a marketing strategy and really talk about your goals and your time frame and all that, then the process can start. There's some paperwork that gets handled there right up front, and that's a listing agreement. In Oregon, it's actually a pretty short form. It's only about 3 pages long, and that just basically allows us the opportunity to market the property and put it out there. Put a lockbox on your front door and put a sign in the front yard and put it out on the internet and stuff like that. And it establishes the terms of our relationship and the price we're going to set and market it at and things like that. So once that paperwork is signed, then a bunch of stuff starts to happen. Here at Eugene Realty Group, we use professional photography. So we'll have the photographer actually come over to your house, and they'll shoot a little video and do all the photos. And then we just start a whole bunch of different things, kind of getting it ready to go onto the market. And so basically you have your marketing period where you get all that ramped up and then actually go live on the market. And then that's when you'll have folks starting to come and look at your home. And the general public, unless they're at an open house, will always have a realtor with them, and they'll go in through a lockbox that's really secure. So that process starts, and then you basically just kind of wait for someone to fall in love with your home and write an offer. In today's market, it's a pretty aggressive seller's market, so you may have more than one person that falls in love with your home. And so you'll be negotiating back and forth with, one party or a few parties, and hopefully get all your terms hammered out and then get into a contract with a buyer. And then a whole bunch of starts to happen at that point. So basically the buyer goes through an inspection period, and so they'll have a home inspection. They may have some other things inspected as well. There's any number of things a buyer could have inspected. They could test for lead-based paint or radon, or they could have the electrical separately inspected, or the roof. But most buyers typically just have a home inspection, and that takes about 4 hours or so depending on the size of your home. And you'll need to leave during that time so that the buyers have free reign of the home with their realtor, just to really fully inspect the property. And the inspector will go under the home and crawl up in the attic, and they'll look at your roof and just a bunch of different stuff. So then you enter into a negotiation period with the buyer, and I always like to tell folks there are basically 3 negotiation periods during an escrow. The first one is right up front when you're negotiating your price and terms with this buyer to get it into contract. Then during the inspection period, they may discover some things that maybe you weren't even aware of, or that they're not happy with, and so they will have an opportunity to come and ask you to possibly make some repairs, or maybe give them a credit so they could have the repairs done after it closes. So you'll be in a negotiation period there with your buyer, and every single one is different. I've done thousands of transactions, and they are never the same. So it really just depends on what the home inspector calls out during their inspection, and there will be a report that goes with that just really spells it out, maybe with some pictures, kind of showing where, maybe there's an electrical issue, and it'll show where it's at and have a little, picture of it so you can sort of grasp what's going on there. So you'll get through that, hopefully successfully. The buyer at that point could choose to back out of the contract if they're not happy with the home, and you guys don't come to terms on, agreeing what you'll do as far as maybe some repairs or a credit that you would give to them. So then what happens once you move past that step is then an appraiser will come out to your home, and they're a third party that will establish the value of the home, and this is on behalf of the lender. If you have a cash buyer, they don't always have to have an appraisal. In fact, they don't have to have one at all, but some cash buyers do like to have one just to make sure they're not overpaying for the house, and a lot of them choose not to. So this is the third negotiation point that if you have a cash buyer, you may avoid completely. What happens then is this report happens. They come out, they'll inspect the property, they'll measure around, and they'll take some pictures, and then a report will be generated that you will not get a copy of. This is on behalf of the buyer for their lender. So the lender will get a copy of that, and then hopefully the appraiser has agreed with the price that you're in contract in, and then you don't have to worry about anything at all. If, unfortunately, it comes in a little bit low, you are now in your third negotiation point with your buyer, and you may have to drop your price. You may have to split the difference with the buyer, or the buyer may have to make up the difference, depending on what you guys negotiate. So while all that's going on, the buyer is working on all their loan process, getting tons of documentation over to their lender and doing all this stuff. And the title company is also doing a whole bunch of things behind the scenes, and they're doing all their title research and pulling a bunch of reports and stuff. So all those things are kind of going on behind the scenes, and then as you successfully navigate your way through all that, the buyer will go through final underwriting, which is an audit of their file, and get their full loan approval. And once that happens, now you're moving towards your closing, and you will go to the title company and you will sign your paperwork. It actually doesn't take very long when you're the seller. It's about a half an hour. You sign off on the deed to transfer title to the buyer and some other documents over there, and then you let the escrow officer know that at that point they're going to let you know exactly how much your net will be from the home. And I'm going to create another video on the costs involved in selling your home, so you can check that out, and it'll be a little bit more detailed on that. And then they can wire those funds to you, or they can cut you a cashier's check, and then you can do what you like with that. Either way is fine. And once that all happens and the buyer signed all their paperwork, you've signed all yours, and all the funds are into the title company, then you'll actually record, and that will be the day that you close. And unless you've negotiated something differently, that will be when you have to be out of the property, and it's usually at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on that day. But check with your realtor to make sure that that's what you've negotiated. Sometimes it can be a little bit different, and that's the process basically from A to Z of selling your home here in Oregon. I hope that was helpful. If any one of us here at Eugene Realty Group can help you in any way or answer any questions, if you're thinking about selling your home and you'd like to have us come over and just do a little market analysis for you, see the home, assess it, and give you some tips on maybe getting it ready, and just maybe even a gauge of what your price range might be that a buyer might likely pay for your home, we'd be happy to do that. We've got an outstanding team of agents here that are very knowledgeable, and they're all full-time and very, very knowledgeable about today's market. So if we can help in any way, feel free to call or text us, and we'll be happy to help. Thanks so much.